Paramahamsa Parivrajakachajostu Tadasata Sri Srimad, His Divine Loving Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada, Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Sisi Gaura Nitai ki, Sisi Krishna Balaram ki, Sisi Radhe Shyam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Jai Sri Guru Sri Gauranga Hari Hari Bo. Om Jnano Timirandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Podantikam Namayo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshotarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasinghaya. Namaste Jase Avira Virbhava. Vajranaka Vajradangstra Kamashayan Randayo Tamo Grasa Grasom Swaha Abhayam Atmani Bhuishta Om Sham. Hare Krishna. This morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 85, Text 19, 20, and 21. So I'm going to do one at a time because there is a little purport to each, and each verse is full of wisdom and inspiration, so we'll do that. Tate gotosmi araṇam adya padāravindam. Āpanna-saṁsṛti-bhayāpaham ārta-bandho. etāvatālam alam indriya-lālasena. Martyātma-dṛk tvayi pare apatya-buddhiḥ. Tat, therefore, te, your, gataḥ, come, asmi, I am, araṇam, for shelter, adya, today, padāravindam, to the lotus feet, āpanna, for those who have surrendered, saṁsṛti, of material entanglement, bhaya, the fear, apaham, which remove, ārta, of the distressed, bandho, O friend, etāvatā, this much, lmlm, enough, enough, indriya, for sense enjoyment, ālasena, with hankering, martya, as mortal, the material body, ātma, myself, dṛk, whose seeing, tvayi, toward you, pare, the supreme, yat, because of which, hankering, apatya, of your being my child, buddhiḥ, the mentality. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, O friend of the distressed, I now approach your lotus feet for shelter, the same lotus feet that dispel all fear of worldly existence for those who have surrendered to them. Enough, enough with hankering for sense enjoyment, which makes me identify with this mortal body and think of you, the Supreme, as my child. Prabhupada's commentary reads, Srila Jiva Goswami suggests that Vasudeva condemns himself here for thinking of trying to gain special opulences because he is the father of the Supreme Lord. Thus, Vasudeva contrasts himself with Nanda, the king of Braj, who was satisfied with pure love of God and nothing else. Whoops. Hare Krishna. I need my notes. How many of you, before coming to Krishna, uttered that mantra, enough, enough? It particularly rung true with me because pretty much that's what happened and that's what propelled me on my course to Krishna consciousness. You know, you reach this particular point, this particular stage in your life, and Bhakti Sukriti, the mercy of Guru association, some good fortune places you on that platform where you simply call out, enough, enough. I can remember, this was 54 years ago, I can remember the exact moment, the exact place where that took place in my life. Every once in a while, it's like a tirtha for me. It's in my hometown in New Jersey. I go back to that place and just revisit that moment of enough, enough. Because, you know, sometimes we become complacent in the execution of our devotional service, and we don't call that out so much anymore. We might think, you know, okay, I'm on the path of Krishna consciousness, everything is cool. But we're complacent. We need some kind of surcharge, some kind of jumpstart in our devotional service. So I go back to that moment in time where I was a college student. I was 21 years old, and it was the late 60s, early 70s, so you guys kind of get the picture of what the mood was in that time. And no matter what I was trying, nothing seemed to satisfy the heart. And that moment, I came out of a friend's house after doing what we normally do in those days, and I walked to the corner of the street that he lived on the corner, and there was, I remember very, very vividly, there was a bright street light there, and I just raised my hands spontaneously, not knowing that for the rest of my life I would be raising my hands, saying, Haribo! I just raised my hands and I said, oh God, what do I need to do? Enough is enough. So here we have in this particular verse the words enough, enough. And in Sanskrit, because sometimes it's more meaningful when you see it in Sanskrit or say it in Sanskrit, just like the word enthusiasm. It's a nice word, right? But when you say utsaha nischaya dharya tat karma pravartana, it has so much more meaning. So alam, enough, enough. Friend of the distressed, Krishna Mahabhaho, Tvam Natam, Gokulam Prabhu, Tratanharasi Devasaha, Kupitad Bhaktavatsala, Krishna, alam, enough, Krishna, Mahabhaho, with your strong arms. Please help me, save me from this material condition. So we have many examples and many verses in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other places. One verse I found which was very nice, Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edhamana Mada Puman Naivarhat Yabhida Tumbai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. Who knows where that's from? Akinchana Gocharam. Prabhupada used to quote this verse all the time. Huh? Yes, prayers of Queen Kunti, right? Akinchana Gocharam. And the verse reads, my Lord, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. But you have to know and accept that you're materially exhausted. Enough. Oh, here's water. Okay. Sorry. Panchagoda's been engaging me a lot in kirtan, so. Enough, alam, Krishna, Mahabhaho. So in this verse, my Lord, your lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feelings. Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhogaishvarya prashaktanam taya paritachetasam. You can't come to devotional service, can't come to Krishna when we are attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence. It's a stumbling block. So that's why we have to come to this point. Enough. I've given not just this life. You may be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or like me, 75. You may be at any age. And we always have to remind ourselves, enough is enough. Alam, and we need Krishna and his Mahabhaho, his strong arms, to help us, to give us shelter. Kupitad Bhakta Vatsala. He's the friend of the devotees. He's our friend. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. When Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada used that verse, Bhoktaram jagnatapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam. Prabhupada made a pamphlet back, I think it was the late 60s, and he said that the peace formula was exactly that. Bhoktaram jagnatapasam, that the Lord is the recipient of all opulences. Sarvaloka maheshwaram, that the Lord is owner, proprietor, controller of all planetary systems. Nothing is ours. And we have a mortgage to prove it, don't we, folks? We say, this is my house, but the bank owns it. My house, I owe $540,000 on it. It's not my house, it's the bank's house. So Krishna, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, he's the proprietor, he's the owner of all lokas, all universes. It's all his. And Suridam Sarvabhutanam, he is our best friend. What friend will agree to follow you birth after birth after birth, right? How many of your friends, if you told your best friend, I'm going to die now, and I'm going to take another birth, and I might take another 1,000 births, will you come along with me? I don't think so. I don't think I'm coming along. But Krishna says, Suridam Sarvabhutanam, I'm your best friend. Yajgatya Shantim Richjati. That's why Prabhupada used that as the peace formula. Krishna, he recipient of all sacrifices. Everything that we do is a sacrifice. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? Jagnartat karmano nyatra loko yam karma bandhana. Everything is a sacrifice. And if we learn that the sacrifice is an offering to Krishna, everything that we do is an offering. If we understand that, Jagnartat karmano nyatra, then we are going to be peaceful. Or loko yam karma bandhanaha. All of our sacrifices, if we place ourselves in the center of the universe, our universe, and we are the center, then loko yam karma bandhana. That's the result of the sacrifices that we offer ourselves. The result is karma bandhana. Again bound up. Again we are shackled to the material world. Again we come. We take our birth. We may have pious activities, we may have impious activities, etc. In any case, we'll suffer or reward the results of our actions and keep going on the wheel of samsara. So that's why Krishna says, if you want to be peaceful, then understand those 3 points. Prabhupada in his peace formula gave those 3 points. And I believe it was the devotees were doing kirtan in the United Nations, and they were, against the Vietnam War. There was a big peace rally, and that was the pamphlet that was given out at that particular time. So, beauty, high parentage, wealth, education, that is not the goal of life. We may have it. You may be very beautiful. That may come from your past pious activities. You may have an opportunity for higher education. You may be born in an aristocratic family. But to perpetuate that mentality and to make it a goal in your life, Krishna is saying here that this is not the goal of human life. The goal of human life is to reconnect. That's why the whole Bhagavad Gita, all 18 chapters, what is the title of every chapter in the Bhagavad Gita in Sanskrit? Yoga, right? Arjuna Vishada Yoga, first chapter. Sankhya Yoga, second chapter. Karma Yoga. It's all yoga. Krishna is telling us to reconnect. That's the purpose of human life, to reconnect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's yoga. That's bhakti yoga. That's jnana yoga. That's karma yoga. That's dhyana yoga. That's buddhi yoga. That's sankhya yoga. All the various yoga systems that Krishna speaks about in the Bhagavad Gita, it's to reconnect with the Supreme, the absolute truth, reality. We cannot live in the mirage. That's not reality. A mirage is a figment of your mental state. The reality is the dry desert. So the mirage of the material world is a figment of our mental state. We don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. So how we're cultivating our mind through the course of our life, that's how we are seeing the world. That's what's driving us. So the recommendation here is not to perpetuate these things, or if we don't have them, to strive for these things, because they're temporary and they lead us further on the path of suffering. So Queen Kunti says that if we are a kinchana gocharam, we are materially exhausted, then we can approach you. If we have a glimmer of hope that enjoyment and success will be there in this material world, it'll serve as an obstacle. And Krishna also says that later on in the Bhagavad Gita, vitaraga, bhaya, krodha. What are the obstacles, right? Fear, anger, and attachment. And in the first chapter in Bhagavad Gita, it's very clear, Krishna, it's very clearly stated to Arjuna, your attachment is the source of your suffering. So fear of the material world, fear of dying, fear of being rejected, all these different fears are there, right? Anger comes out of frustration, right? It follows frustration. Dhyayato vishayang pungsa sangastishu bhajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodha vijayate krodha bhavati sangmohat smriti vibharmat smriti buddhi nasho. What's the last one? Thank you. So that's like the most profound psychological progression that you could come upon. How many of you are interested in psychology or are a psychologist? Okay. If you want a very poignant, profound psychological progression, study that verse, memorize that verse, Bhagavad Gita 62 and 63. Because Krishna tells us, right? Contemplating the objects of the senses. When we contemplate the objects of the senses, what happens? We develop attachment, right? And from this attachment, frustration, intense desire to enjoy. From the intense desire to enjoy, right? We become angry. Anger. Narottam Das Thakur says, anger spoils everything. Anger, just those few words, like hit me on the head. Anger spoils everything. The Buddha said in one discourse with his students, he said, why do you yell when you get angry? He asked that question of his students, and his students raised their hand, and they gave this reason. No, he gave that reason. No, all the logical reasons why you yell when you get angry. Oh, I'm upset, and I'm frustrated with these things. He said, no. He said, because anger causes distance. And what happens when you become distant from somebody? You yell. And the further away they become, the louder you yell. So in our anger, we yell because actually we're pushing the person away. And the more we push them away, the louder we yell. The more frustrated we become, the louder we yell. So the recommendation is speak softly. Even if something's disturbing you, speak softly. Keep the closest. Because when we're close, what happens when we're close? Right? We speak softly. We speak affectionately. There's no distance. And the closer we are, there's no distance. So speak softly, speak affectionately. And that will be the last verse that's here. So Prahlad Maharaj also says, Na te vidu swarakatim hi vishnum darashaya ye bahir āta-bandho anda yatandhār upaniyamanas tepisha tantriyam urudamni pāda. Persons who are strongly entrapped by the consciousness of enjoying material life do not know that the ultimate goal of life is to adjust material goals. Constant adjustment of material goals. That becomes our life when we're absorbed in sense gratification. When we make ourselves the center of the universe. What is Krishna consciousness? Krishna is the center of the universe. We take our selfish needs, our desires, and we pull ourselves out. We make Krishna the center of the universe. And it doesn't matter. Krishna is, we please Krishna and everything is satisfied. So persons who are strongly entrapped, this is a symptom. We should be like doctors, right? Swadhyaya, Gaudiya Vaishnavism, Swadhyaya means study of Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, studying of sacred texts. Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras, he adds self-study. So we should also be aware of what is going on in our life, what is affecting us, what is not affecting us, etc. Always taking an inventory. I try at the end of every day, take an inventory. What I did right, what was my mindset? Where did I deviate when I was chanting japa or whatever? Just trying to always self-check, taking inventory, so that the mind does not lead us astray. Lord Brahma adds, just as rivers flow toward the ocean, all realizations and paths lead to you, Krishna. So this is the process of surrender, right? Accepting things favorable, rejecting things unfavorable, conviction that Krishna will protect us, Krishna as our divine maintainer, surrendering oneself to the Lord, and humility and dependence on the Lord. So this kind of surrender, this is the next step after a kinchana gocharam. Once we realize, enough, I'm materially exhausted, then what do I do? And if that's our sincere desire, Krishna reciprocates. I love that verse, ye yatang mang prabhajante, right? That verse, as I surrender, as you surrender unto Krishna, he rewards accordingly. That's reciprocation, folks. He rewards us according to what we surrender to. If we surrender to the mind, then that's the reciprocation, right? Sarvasya chaham ririsane vishto matak smritir jnanam aponam cha. I was always wondering, Krishna is the source of forgetfulness? I thought Maya was the source of forgetfulness. But Krishna says, no, I'm the source of forgetfulness. Why? Because he's reciprocating. He's reciprocating to teach us. You want to forget? Okay. Here's what happens when you forget. I remember when I was about 7 years old. I was pretty good kid. My father was pretty tough. But I kept bugging him. I said, I want milkshake, Daddy. I want milkshake. And he kept saying, no, a milkshake. Yeah. Dad, can I have a milkshake? So he said, you want a milkshake? Yes, I want a milkshake. So he took me to in those days, that was the 50s, 1950s. In those days, they had what we used to call candy stores. You go there and, they have ice cream and candy and soda and all that. So he took me there and he said, sit down. And he ordered me a milkshake. And I thought, wow, I got my way. And I drank the milkshake. And then my father ordered another milkshake. And I was thinking, I'm a little full. Because in those days, everything was big portion. And he ordered me another milkshake. And I said, Dad, he said, no, you drink this milkshake too. So I drank the milkshake and I was materially exhausted, materially full. And then he ordered a third one. And I was going, Dad, what are you doing? And I'm a little guy, so I don't have a big stomach. And he ordered a third one. And he said, no, you drink this milkshake. And I was like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Please, you drink this milkshake. And I was trying to, and I was getting, full and burping and all the good things that go along when you stuff yourself. So the material, you want this? Okay, I'll give this to you. Āpanna. You forget, right? Krishna, so you want sense gratification? Okay, in order to get sense gratification, you have to forget me. Because when you remember Krishna, param drishtvā nivartate, it's a higher taste. So you forget everything when you remember Krishna. But Krishna forgets. So you want to enjoy apart from me? You want to be separate from me? You want vigyoga? You want to be disconnected from me? No. Okay, I'll bring you there. So Krishna is so kind in his reciprocation, just like my father was so loving in his reciprocation. You want milkshake? Okay, drink 3 of them. You want sense gratification? Okay, here. You spend this life all the way up trying to gratify your senses, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, and those senses, they're not so, you can't really gratify them. You can't see as well, you can't hear as well. What'd you say? Whenever I get in conversations with my godbrothers, it's always like, what did you say? Because we're all in the mid-70s, late 70s. We're all saying, well, what did you say? Our senses are failing us. They're not going to be our best friend, our suridam. They're failing us. So in this way, akinchana gocharam, come to Krishna, surrender. Second verse. A lot to say on that first verse. I'll just read the Sanskrit. What time is it? 8:40. To 9, right? Or before 9, right? So, Suti grihe nanu jagada bhava majuno sanjagya ityanu yugam nija dharma guptyai nana tanur gagana bad bidhaja jahasi koveda bhumna urugaya vibhuti mayam. Indeed, while still in the maternity room, you told us that the unborn Lord had already been born several times as our son in previous ages. After manifesting each of these transcendental bodies to protect your own principles of religion, you then made them unmanifest, thus appearing and disappearing like a cloud. O supremely glorified, all-pervading Lord, who can understand the mystic, deluding potency of your opulent expansions? As there are waves on the ocean crashing to the shore, have you ever sat on the beach and counted the waves? You will be there for an eternity. Because as there are waves crashing on the shore, that's how many incarnations of the Supreme Lord. I thought brilliant. This philosophy of Krishna consciousness is so brilliant because it explains how and why the Lord comes. The Lord promises that He'll come. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata paritāranaya saranam. Right? The Lord explains He's going to come again and again and again. It's not that He just sits on a throne and waits for us. He's so kind. He's so merciful. He comes again and again. And how does He come? Purusha avatar, right? Lila avatar, Guna avatar, Manvantara avatar, Shaktivesh avatar, Yuga avatar. He comes, and the acharyas delineate 6 different categories of manifestations of the Supreme Lord. And it deals with every facet of thing that goes on in the universe and beyond. He comes again and again and again. I love when there's repetition because there's such emphasis with repetition, right? Alam, alam, enough, enough. Yada, yada, again and again. The Lord is so emphatic. He wants us to understand His emphasis that He will not forget us. He loves us. There was this quote, a very wonderful quote, because even materialists can have realizations. This was by Steve Jobs. Anyone know that guy? So before he passed away, he said, "Those that love you will never leave you, even though there may be 100 reasons to do so. They will find one reason to hold on." So I thought, that is Krishna. How many reasons have I given Krishna in the course of my sinful lives? How many reasons have I given Krishna to abandon me? Trillions. But here, Steve Jobs' realization, love means that 100 reasons can be there. That I'll find that one reason. So Krishna, He sees us. We may be in our condition, the condition that we were at, certainly prior to coming to Krishna consciousness. I was not a saint. So somehow or another, Krishna, he examined the files and He found that one reason to show His love and to give me an opportunity to reconnect with Him. The one reason. And how did He do that? Through the medium of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. That was the catalyst. That was the impetus to surrender. And Krishna, He comes again and again. Yada, yada. I'll come again and again. I'll come in many different ways. I'll come in the Purusha avatars as Mahavishnu, as Garbhodakshai Vishnu, as Kiradakshai Vishnu. I'll take care of all this. I'll manifest the universes. I'll impregnate the living entities into each universe. And I'll be there for you in your heart as Paramatma, as Super Soul. Gunavatar, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, right? I'll oversee the modes of material nature. Shaktyavesh avatar, right? Narad Muni, Vyasadeva, in different capacities. They are empowered to help us. All of this effort by the Supreme Lord, again and again, as there are waves crashing onto the ocean shore, again and again, Krishna is coming to save us, to give us that opportunity. And here, look at the opportunity that we have been given, all of us, Prabhupada disciples, grand disciples. What is our fortune? What is the magnitude of our fortune that we've been able to come in connection with Srila Prabhupada? and Srila Prabhupada's teachings and Srila Prabhupada's mission. And one time I told my sister I'm going to Italy. And she said, oh, that's so nice. Because we're Italian. We're from Italian background. Oh, that's wonderful. Where will you stay? It's so expensive in Italy. Oh, I have devotee friends there. And then another time I told her, I'm going to Greece. She goes, that's nice. Where are you staying? I said, oh, I have devotee friends there. And another time I told her, I'm going to Portugal. She said, don't tell me. You have friends there. I said, how did you know? Prabhupada created this house that we can all live in. It's so joyous to come together like this, to see the various ethnic groups together, right? Chanting. I remember in BTG many years ago, there was a nice illustration, and it had Hasidic Jews and Christians and Muslims and devotees all in kirtan, in the kirtan party. And if you want to see that, go to Union Square in New York City. I've seen Hasidic Jews and I've seen Muslims dancing in kirtan there. So Prabhupada has created this house that we can all live in. Even if you're from North Ireland or Ireland, right? Wherever you're from, whatever the differences are, all differences are reconciled under the shelter of the holy name. And that's the potency of chanting Hare Krishna and going out into the public and Sri Harinam to see that in action. The potency of the holy name, bringing people together that you can't even imagine. I mean, when I was invited to go to a Sufi, when I lived in North Carolina, they invited me to Sufis. I became friends with some Sufis, and they invited me every week. They had a chanting thing, so they invited me to come. I brought mridanga, and then they said, "Now you chant your chant," and we did kirtan, Sufis and Krishnas, and I just thought, how potent is Harinam? This whole movement was started because Prabhupada went on Harinam in Tompkins Square Park. You've seen the video, right? Prabhupada there playing the bongo and young hippies and chanting and dancing. So all of these different incarnations, Krishna comes to us. The various Leela avatar, Gun avatar, Purusha avatar, Shaktivesh avatar, Yuga avatar, all the different avatars. He comes some way or another. He is enticing us to come back home, back to Godhead. So I'm running out of time. I will just read the last verse. Text 21, Sri Shuka Avacha, Akaram Yetam Pitur Bhakyam Bhagavan Sattva Baha Pratyaha Prashayanamra Prahasan Slaksnaya Gira. Sukadeva Goswami said, having heard his father's words, the Supreme Lord, leader of the Sattvatas, replied in a gentle voice as he bowed his head in humility and smiled. Srila Jiva Goswami describes what Lord Krishna thought after hearing his father glorify him. It's amazing, right? Srila Jiva Goswami is telling us what Krishna thought. That's the potency of the pure devotee. Vasudeva has been honored with the eternal role of my father, something even demigods like Brahma cannot aspire for. Therefore, he shouldn't be absorbed in thinking of my godly aspects. Moreover, his reverence greatly embarrasses me. It was to avoid this very situation that after killing Kamsa, I made a special effort to reinforce their pure parental love for me and Balaram. But now, unfortunately, the statements of these sages threaten to revive some of Vasudev's and Devaki's previous awareness of my majesty. Doesn't want us to recognize the majesty. He wants us to be pretty. He wants dearness. I'll read this so for expedition purposes. This is Jiva Goswami from the Priti Sandarbha. Though this is so, and realizing other qualities of his Swarup are also supreme, realizing the particular qualities of dearness, called priti or bhakti, is considered topmost. Since the Lord by nature is the abode of unconditional priti. That priti destroys suffering completely. What else do you want? What else do you need? Without that priti, one cannot realize all his other qualities or his swarup. On attaining priti, the Lord must appear. To the degree that one realizes the Lord's priti, one realizes the Lord. By manifestation and perfection of priti, one attains full realization of the Lord. This is what Krishna wants. He doesn't want to be glorified with Vedic hymns. He wants dearness. He wants loving exchange. And he even demonstrates that, they're thinking of me in a majestic aspect. Just like when Mother Jasoda, who's topmost devotee, when she opens Krishna's mouth, right? And she looks in Krishna's mouth, she sees the entirety of the universe, all aspects of the universe. And momentarily, just momentarily, she's stunned. But then, because Krishna wants our breast milk, Krishna wants that loving exchange of parental love. He doesn't want or doesn't really care for that as much as the dearness. And it's stated right here. Even in his humility, Krishna says, just become dear to me, and I'll become dear to you. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for your kind attention. We have a few minutes if anyone would like to ask a question, make a comment, or share a realization. I see a hand up.
I want to make an announcement. I'm sorry. Out of the gate of Samadhi, you go like down the road like 100 meters. The Russians, they have harinam every evening from 6 to 8, and the Gornitais are there. So please, you all invited to come. It's ecstatic.
Thank you.
Haribo.
Haribo.
So Arjuna complained he couldn't control the mind and senses, even though he was getting good instruction from Krishna, from Shastra. And so it seems as though prakrite kriyamanani guna karmani, it says that we're almost forced to act even against our own will. So how much freedom do we actually have to control the mind and senses?
We have freedom of choice. That's what independence means. Krishna is waiting for us to make the choice. We don't have much beyond that other than, the desire either to serve Krishna or not to serve Krishna. It's a very good verse, that prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vibhudhati. It's a very great verse. So, through association, that association is infectious. If we are aware enough, Patanjali says you have to be aware of your awareness. We have to be aware of consciousness, and consciously we can make that choice. The modes are there. Just like in my dhoti, every corner of my dhoti has a thread. The modes, every part of the universe, the modes of material nature there. Even in the Bhagavatam, It's described devotional service influenced by tamagun, devotional service influenced by rajagun, devotional service influenced by sattvagun, and gives the symptoms of each. Nobody can take our choice away, our ability to choose. So we have to create the awareness, and thus proof of creation of the awareness is the association that we choose, the lifestyle that we pick for ourselves, the diet that we eat, all of these different things, all of these different components. Health, we have to keep health. When Malati told me that in San Francisco, Prabhupada posted a note in the kitchen. And you know what the first thing on that list was? Health. Because Prabhupada said, without good health, how will you execute devotional service? So all of these things are virtue of conscious choice. So the only way that we can get beyond that mind which is, hounding us, tempting us to enjoy the senses, is to take shelter of the 5 most powerful limbs of bhakti, which include chanting Hare Krishna, sadhu sangha, swadhyaya, study of sacred texts. These are all strategies given to us by Rupa Goswami that will help us build a powerful and pure intelligence. So when the mind says, oh no, don't chant your rounds, or don't do this, or don't, then the intelligence will kick it.
What's wrong with wanting a milkshake?
What's that?
What's wrong with wanting a milkshake?
What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. My father said, nothing's wrong. You want? So you take it.
Hare Krishna.
Well, I'll tell you what's wrong from the Ayurvedic perspective, because my wife's she's a medical doctor, but she's an Ayurvedic doctor. So we don't drink cold milk products, because she said it's virtually impossible to digest. And when you don't digest, according to Ayurveda, then you get toxins.
I was only joking.
You said it. You put your foot in your mouth. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You just said that Krishna loves us and He's very kind and He let us enjoy our senses, sense gratification, but that will make us suffer more and make us unhappy. So why Krishna not give us a permanent happiness and give us more devotion towards Him, rather than give us this temporary enjoyment and be kind to us in that way?
Can you make the question more succinct, please?
You just mentioned in the class that
Yeah.
Krishna is very kind and He loves us.
Right.
So He let us enjoy our senses, sense
Right.
gratification.
Well, I said that verse, Sarvasya Chahamriti Sanivi, I said He gives us forgetfulness. If we want to enjoy part for Krishna, the only way we can do that is we forget Krishna. That's what I said.
So why Krishna? Krishna knows that it will make us suffer more and make us more unhappy. Then why Krishna do not give us a permanent happiness and not let us enjoy our senses and make it close to Him by giving us more devotion towards Him?
Because that's what we want. He's only reciprocating. That's what He says. As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly. He's just reciprocating with what your desire is, to be separate. So the only way you can be separate from Krishna is that He makes an arrangement through forgetfulness. We forget Krishna. And that's why Prabhupada said, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Because it's this forgetfulness that will allow us to go down that path, to turn our back on Krishna, and to pursue a life of sense gratification. So I'm going to stop here, because I know they told 9 o'clock and it's 5 minutes over. I thank you very much for your kind attention.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna.